once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall. Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
And here we are, Sean. So what happened with that first countdown? Because it started counting down and then it fell off, Mr. Producer Guy. Hello, everyone. Leardy58. So what happened, Sean?
It's all about experimenting, trying new things. So that's my job. My job is to do research, and I have no clue how this works, and I'm just going to try new things.
Well, obviously you have some clue because here we are, and we also have Leardy58 who is here with us. So clearly something is working, Sean.
I guess so. We have 7 people on right now, which is the most we've had in the first.
Yeah, see, I see none of that. I can't see that, which is kind of strange for me.
Yeah.
So if we actually have 7 people watching, who is going to be the first to insert their question today? That's what I want to know. Who's going to go out on a limb? Who's going to ask us a question that we will do our best to provide a working answer for you? Anyone? Anyone? All I'm hearing is crickets. Yeah.
That's okay. There we go.
Hello all. It's Brian. I think we've had Brian before, have we not? Sean?
I believe so. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Hey, Brian. And Leardy58. What do you think 58 stands for? Age? You're there born?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was... I mean, Leardy is a pretty obscure name or word. So I can't imagine there'd be too many Leardys, but maybe there is. Maybe he had to go with 58 versus 57 or 56 or 55. So he took next in line because the other avatars were unavailable. Anyhow, so Sean, you sent me some detailing hacks you didn't know you needed. Let's see. Must-have tools. You know, I was thinking about this. Must-have tools. In many ways, it's more about the tools you don't have to have that the industry will want you to believe you have as a beginner. Because really, it's unlikely that any seasoned detailing expert is going to be tuning into us. Would you agree with that, Sean? I mean, as a rule, it's going to be. Would you not think it'd be beginners to intermediate at best?
Anything is possible is YouTube. Nothing surprises me.
Granted, but like seriously, like ask me. You know, I've got 35 years of experience. Ask me when's the last time I went onto YouTube and looked up detailing advice. Last name, that's all I could get. Interesting. All right. Well, cool. Butch Roberts. Hello, Butch. Thanks for joining in. But go ahead, Sean. Did you want to ask me? I know that's mostly a rhetorical question, but did you want to ask me that?
No, I just want. I was thinking that maybe you should talk about the tools because you have a lot of videos where you come up with different tools that you create that the
Yeah.
industry doesn't sell. That you create. You always, in the videos you'll say something like along the lines you'll say like you can't buy this tool anywhere because I created it.
Yeah.
So
I do have tools like my wheel brush, which I specifically made to get deep into the extra wide performance wheels that are on, for example, the luxury sedans and then the sports cars. So there's two problems with that is they have really wide wheels generally, which means the wheel brush may not be long enough to reach all the way back or all the way through the wide wheel barrel. Secondly, on the same theme, which is performance sedans or sports sedans and sports cars, is they have oversized brake assemblies in the front wheels, which means oversized rotors and oversized calipers. And even though the wheel is oversized, the brake assembly is so oversized that there's very little tolerance between the wheel barrel and the caliper. And so you need specialized tools to get in there and clean them and detail them out to perfection, which is why I had to go outside of our industry and find a tool that would actually work. What do you guys think of the next big product to hit the market? Leardy, I suspect that might be a typo, which I'm going to guess you meant to say, what do we think? What do we think will be the next big product, as opposed to what do we think of the next big product? Because I don't know what the next big product is if it's an of. So I suspect you mean what is. I think probably it's just going to evolve, or I should say it will have to do with some types of coatings. Now, they're going to keep pushing ceramic coatings, of course, and maybe even some of these players will keep pushing graphene. I feel like graphene is already kind of climaxed because it's really, truly just hype. So I just think that the technology will continue to improve, and it will bleed into our domain, detailing with coatings. And it's like anything. So you've got the paint protection films, the PPF, which are so superior today than they were, years ago. Back in the day, you had to worry about them yellowing over time. Now, and also it's two big things with the paint protection films. The films themselves had a bit of a texture to them, so you could pretty much instantly tell that there was a film on the car. Now films are so superior, they don't yellow and they have no texture to them, so it's truly hard to tell if there's an actual paint protection film on the car. And then coatings, they continue to evolve and get better. They're going to be able to stand up to more chemicals, just be more durable. What's Darren's favorite key products, such as wheel cleaner, spray sealant, wax, interior cleaner, etc.? Well, the simple answer is anything that's going to make my life simpler. And what I mean by that is I'm going to find products that serve multiple purposes. So in simple terms, you've got the interior of the car and you've got the exterior of the car. So for example, you can get cleaners, like an all-purpose cleaner would be really the entry of that. So you're going to get a cleaner that can be used both on the interior and the exterior. Wheel cleaners, that's where I've done a big shift. So for example, you have acid-based wheel cleaners. Now, the problem with wheel cleaners, actually, let me restate that. The problem with cleaning wheels is that you consume a disturbing amount of cleaners in order to clean wheels. You just do. Wheels are very intricate, as a rule, are very intricate components of the car. And really, to get them fully clean, as in truly detailed to perfection, you're going to have to use water, because when it comes to the intricacies, for example, of like an engine and a wheel, they're just so intricate. It's just truly hard to get them perfectly clean without using water. And with that, you're also going to be using a liquid wheel cleaner, and you will use a disturbing amount of wheel cleaner. And so then it becomes, okay, if you buy a retail grade product, let's say it comes in a 16-ounce container, like honestly, you're probably going to go through like 2 of those just to clean your 4 wheels. And whether you're cleaning the face or the barrels can make a big difference also. So the point is wheel acids are super effective as far as brake dust goes, but what happens to all that runoff? Hence the using water and a liquid cleaner. Do you contain it? Do you worry about containing it? Meaning, are you just going to rinse it off the wheel and let it go down into the drains and the gutters and then basically destroy the environment? I'll just keep it simple. Do you want to destroy the environment, or do you not care? I used to not care. Actually, let me restate that. I always cared. I just didn't care enough to not use wheel acid, because I thought, I'm just one guy out here cleaning a few wheels a day. My difference is not going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things. Well, that was me just not being honest with myself. That was me just rationalizing the moment. So it's a tough balance act. So my favorite products are a true wheel acid or an acid-based wheel cleaner, because they're so effective. Okay, but that's only if I'm worried about being effective at cleaning the wheel. But that argument exists in what I would call a vacuum or an isolation, because I'm not working at a shop. I'm working at people's homes. Therefore, unless I'm putting down a containment mat, which I'm not going to do, that means all that wheel acid is going to go down the drains and end up in the oceans, and that's just going to help destroy the environment. Which sounds, I know what you're thinking, Sean.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like I don't really take pleasure in thinking like I'm dumping wheel acid down into the environment. So years ago, I switched away from that. I thought, okay, I got to be honest with myself. I'm doing damage to the surrounding environment. I don't want to do that. So everything comes with trade-offs. Therefore, I switched to an all-purpose cleaner like Simple Green that you could almost drink and not get sick from. It's got all these, it's gone through extensive testing, so it's truly environmentally safe. Now, the big trade-off is it's not going to be near as effective as an acid. But see, most of my customers, they keep their cars up, mostly by me. Therefore, I just need a cleaner, something that's going to break down what you might call traditional dirt, including brake dust. So if it's not allowed to accumulate for months and years on end, then I don't really need a wheel acid. Therefore, I switched to an all-purpose cleaner that I know is environmentally friendly, like Simple Green. Therefore, that's been one of the biggest shifts that I made, and that was quite a few years ago. And that's when I started pushing Simple Green. And since it's a basic all-purpose cleaner, I then transitioned it into the interior and thought, hey, let me see how effective this is at shampooing upholstery or cleaning car leather, and it proved very effective. So, and it also is better for my health, because when you're using wheel acid to clean wheels, anyone out there, any of you guys that are tuning in right now, if you've done it and you've inhaled those fumes, it's gonna it feels like it's singeing the inside of your lung lining. It's not very good. anyhow, I've had pretty good luck with NanoSkin non-acid wheel cleaner gallon side, acid for trashed wheels. See, I agree. Acid for trashed wheels, I agree. But then you're back to that, what are you doing with the runoff? Are you letting it go down the drain or the gutters? Probably. I mean, honestly, I believe most guys are. It was just a personal decision that I made years ago where I thought, you know what, I'm going to quit doing my part to destroy the environment. That's all. Obviously, you got to do what you got to do, or what you are willing to do. But yes, you've got the acid base versus non-acid. And then every product is going to come. I'm thinking. So, for example, one of my default answers for just about anything in life is that everything exists on a spectrum. So when you've got cleaners, which is a very generalized catch-all phrase, a cleaner. Well, what's a cleaner? I mean, a cleaner could be as simple as water. Ever get your hands dirty and you just run them underneath running tap water? Well, that tap water is about as safe as it gets, but we could call it a cleaner in that moment. So that would be on this end of the spectrum. And then on the far end, you would have the extreme examples of acids and alkaline cleaners. They are different, but when you push them far enough on the end, they become very caustic to certain things. That's where, if you understand the pH scale, it's really important, because you will know how alkalines react to materials, and you'll know how acid-based things will react to materials. So anyhow, how's that for an answer? I've had NanoSkin. I'm a fan of NanoSkin, by the way, Brian. They make some good stuff, and I did try their non-acid wheel cleaner years ago, and that's when I was experimenting with a non-acid based wheel cleaner to see how effective they are. Yeah, there's the pH scale, right, Sean?
Yep.
Yeah. So it really is. I mean, I love chemistry. I find it very fascinating, because when you can apply it to your world, and this is where I have applied it to the non-detailing world. And what I mean by this is, for example, can you see where vinegar is on that pH scale, Sean? You might have to just type that in, because I can't see if those are labeled.
They are labeled. I'm going to make it bigger.
In fact, I could just use, I don't recall where vinegar, let me see. I'm consulting with my AI. So vinegar pH 2 to 3, so it's acid, which I knew it's an acid. I just didn't know how far up. So 2 to 3 is vinegar. So interesting, think about this. So when you hear like, ooh, an acid-based wheel cleaner, well, guess what? You could mix vinegar, dilute it down 50% with water, and you could call that an acid-based wheel cleaner. The moment any person hears the word acid, they go into freak out mode. Well, guess what? I could take that same vinegar and make some salad dressing out of it and eat it on my salad. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Stop the press. That doesn't make sense. It's like, well, welcome to the pH scale. So point being is, when I learned how effective wheel acids were for wheels, I thought, okay, because then I started experimenting using acid to decalcify hard water spots on paint. In fact, I have quite a few videos where I'm using wheel acid, as in Meguiar's, what was that called? Oh, Meguiar's wheel brightener. You could pull that one up, Sean.
Yeah.
Meguiar's wheel brightener is an acid-based wheel cleaner. It works amazing on wheels. It works amazing on breaking down brake dust. So what I thought is, wait a minute, my little brain went thinking, I thought, I wonder if it could dissolve hard water spots. And so I started experimenting with it and realized, okay, if my acid-based wheel cleaner, Meguiar's wheel brightener, comes in a plastic bottle or container, that strongly suggests that acid or this type of acid does not react to plastics, because if it did, they probably would put it in a metal container. But because I know enough about the pH scale and acids versus alkaline, I know that many acids will actually destroy certain types of metal, which is why they put it in a plastic container. And I know that clear coat, in very simple terms, is a type of plastic. So I started experimenting with the wheel acid on water spots, and I found it to be very effective. Now, to come full circle around, as far as me taking these off-label uses, I wear a retainer at night to keep my teeth aligned. And what builds up in your teeth is this stuff called plaque and tartar. So plaque is the soft stuff that you got to brush off with your teeth every day. Tartar is the hard crustacean. It's the calcium deposits, the mineral deposits, whatever you want to call them, that build up, that you got to go to the dentist and they scrape off. So what happens is that stuff will accumulate in your retainer also. And what's interesting is I asked 2 different dentists how to clean my retainer, and all they did is they put in this stupid little machine that vibrates the water. I can't think of what that machine's called, and it's supposed to disinfect it. It's like, well, I don't need it disinfected. I want the damn tartar stuff taken off my retainer, the white stuff that crystallizes up. So I went home and I thought, wait a minute, my acid-based wheel cleaner, it dissolves hard water spots. I bet it will dissolve the mineral deposits on my retainer. And because my retainer is made out of plastic, I knew it would be safe, or I was confident it would be safe. So that is how I clean my retainer, is by using an acid called vinegar. And it's super effective. And it's like, which is frustrating because my dentists are supposed to be the experts. They should know this. They shouldn't have their customer who happens to be a detailer have to come in and tell them, hey, I've got a much better way to clean the retainers, and a way that actually is effective. So acid-based wheel cleaners, they are very effective, but they come at health risk to you, the user, when you're using them, as well as the environment if you just let the runoff go everywhere. Now, the non-acid wheel and tire cleaner, it's probably just a glorified heavy-duty cleaner, that's probably alkaline based, because you can also clean tires. Notice that says wheel and tire cleaner. Very different materials, rubber and alloy, very different materials, and yet you've got one cleaner. At a level, I could label that an all-purpose cleaner, but because I'm not a chemist, or I'm not Meguiar's, I don't know what chemistry they have formulated into that. But that's where I started experimenting. For example, Brian, where I wanted to try the NanoSkin wheel cleaner, and I'm curious, and you'd have to look up you'd have to go to their websites like Meguiar's and NanoSkin and look up their MDS files to see what chemicals are in there, because every manufacturer has to make that available. It's just that most people don't look because, we just want to clean our wheels. We don't want to know the chemistry. We don't really want to know how dangerous it is for anything. We just care if it works, and we just got to get the job done. I clean my retainer with white vinegar too. Well, right on, Mr. Humberto. Did I get that right, Sean? Right?
Humberto.
Humberto?
That's close enough. It doesn't matter. It's close enough.
Close enough by the gringo.
Yeah, that's okay.
See, so I'm not the only guy out there that knows this trick. And once again, I'm Mr. Off-label use. I'm always the brain's always thinking. It's always strategizing. How do I make my life simpler? Really, it starts with this. It's the results. What results do I want? I want clean wheels. I want a clean retainer. Okay, then the next thing comes into, how do I do it in the simplest, fastest way? And that comes into efficiency. So that's how I'm always going to process things. What's the results I want? And what's the quickest, simplest, fastest way to produce those desired results? You can apply, those are called working principles. If you apply that to everything in your life, that then becomes your blueprint for strategy. Okay, so kicking out heat. I wonder what that means. But thanks for being here, Kicking Out Heat. I believe that's the first time you've been here. So we are turning up the heat. At least I like to turn up the heat. That's called me stirring the pot to school chemistry class. You know what, Muerto? I never paid attention to anything in school other than probably the girls. Like literally, I'm so glad I went through school decades ago, because based on what school's like today, I don't think I would last. Like I did not have the focus back then to pay attention in chemistry class. And honestly, I don't think I had a chemistry class in high school. I didn't start learning chemistry until detailing, really. Now it's a topic that I dig into on YouTube on my off hours. Chemistry, physics, quantum physics. So these are all topics. History. These are all topics I use YouTube to take a deep dive onto. But yes, chemistry. I love studying chemistry, and it's just interesting because when you understand really what I would call the fundamentals of chemistry, you really can apply it to so many areas of your life. For example, like my son reached out last week and he was asking how to get adhesive off of a glass jar. And in many ways, that's chemistry, because you've got certain products that need solvent type chemicals, like let's say an acetone or a paint thinner or rubbing alcohol. Those are what I would kind of label as solvents. And when you've got materials like, let's say, adhesive, gum, heavy oils or greases or waxes, those are so resistant to traditional alkaline-based cleaners that you need something more aggressive, and that's where these kind of solvent and adhesive type removers come in. I paid attention to do girls' sports parties. That's funny. That's funny, Umberto. Yeah, so the special attention went to the girls' sports parties and some classes that you were interested in, like chemistry, calculus, and computers, English, and history. Well, good for you. I would say that is a pretty good winning balance, because you're balancing out the stuff that you're actually there for in school versus your extracurricular interests like girls and sports and parties. So right on. And kicking out the heat. I'm curious. Yes, my first time here. I'm hooked now. Well, I'm glad you're hooked. That didn't take long. And if you're hooked already, I'm curious what your gateway channel was. Hey, Mr. Kicking Out Heat, did you have a gateway channel that you that brought you here that now segued into being hooked on this channel? And what I'm curious is, what's with your moniker, like Kicking Out the Heat? How do we interpret that? We need some context for that if you're willing to give it to us. So what'd you pull up, Sean? Detailing brush set.
Yeah, I was just pulling out tools. Like,
what's interesting, wait a minute. It's like fully raining here. Okay, I live in Southern California, man. And it's not supposed to be raining. I was at the beach today and I got 2 solid hours of pure sunshine. No clouds whatsoever. Then the next 30 minutes was partial sun, and then it just came in and it was dark and gray. And so I GTFO'd it out of there and came home, and now it's like raining. Like, what the heck? So you're an HVAC guy. Kicking out heat. Okay. That kind of suggests that you specialize in AC units, air conditioning. And I remember a college class I took. I don't know if this is going to make sense to you, HVAC guy. which rolls off my tongue easier than saying kicking out the heat guy. So I took this class and the core focus was on water, but something we studied was how refrigerators cool down. And what was interesting is that I thought refrigerators actually blew cold air into your refrigerator. And if I'm correct with my memory, what it actually does is it sucks out all the warm air and conditions it and alters the temperature of it. So even though it's kind of the same thing, in the moment it seemed very different, because I just thought somehow it would produce cold air and blow it into the refrigerator, when in fact it takes the current air and somehow reduces the temperature of it. So it in essence takes the hot air out of the heated air. I don't know if that's making sense or not, HVAC guy. Air conditioning is removing heat from the air. Okay, you're saying what I'm saying. Okay, maybe I am correct. I would love, I find that very interesting, and I'd love to go back to that class. Like, that's a good study. This goes for you, Umberto, also. When you study water, water is truly so amazing. Not only is it the only thing that can exist in 3 states, vapor, liquid, and solid. And by the way, I just learned this. There's a 4th state. It's plasma. So there's a study for you guys. Vapor, solid, liquid, and plasma. But water has so many like amazing attributes to it, like the capillary effect, the surface tension effect. Like when you pour water and you fill up a glass, it actually bubbles over. That's because the hydrogen carbons bond so well to each other. H2O, H2O. So 2 hydrogen carbons, 1 oxygen carbon makes water. So it's the hydrogen carbons that give it that doming effect, which I don't remember what that's officially called. Oh, there you go. How do air conditioners work? Yeah, removing heat from the air. And I wonder if, like, in that world, when they say conditioned air, because conditioned air also refers to, I believe, and maybe it's a natural consequence of taking the heat out of the air, is that it lowers the humidity, which kind of makes sense. You're absolutely right on point. Many factors are moving heat. HVAC was chemistry, engineering, so many levels. Yeah, I could believe it. I find it an interesting topic personally, which I suspect that the normal lay person would just, like, their eyes would roll back into their head out of boredom. I personally find it very interesting, especially what HVAC systems can do for our comfort. Heat up our homes when it's cold, cool down our homes when it's hot, and remove a lot of that humidity, that unwanted humidity from the air. Because something else about water that I've learned, that unless you're a living organism specifically, or I'll keep it general, like humans or plants, water pretty much destroys everything. It's either going to destroy it through erosion or it's going to corrode things. So in this moment, what I'm referring to is humidity in the air. Like here in Southern California, because I live close enough to the coast, we have higher humidity. Okay, not like in the East. In the East USA, they have horrid humidity. But here, because it's all relative, right? It's what I grew up with. So here, an average humidity level might be 57%, which in my opinion is way too much. I love low humidity because that humidity is floating around in the air, and it alters the resolution. That's what I call it. Because when you have low humidity, you don't have that humidity floating around in the air, and you have better clarity, better visibility when you have low humidity. And whenever I could vacations to different states, 39. Seriously, you've been to 39 states? That's some bragging rights, because I think I've been to like 3, including California, the one I was born in. Different, let's see, countries of Europe, South America, Ecuador, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Panama. Dude, you are a world traveler. Like, thumbs up to you. That's impressive, and that's cool. In fact, last night I was binging on the ancient ruins of South America, specifically Argentina. Where is Machu Picchu?
It's Peru.
It is Peru.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that was my main focus, was not just Machu Picchu, but the Peruvian ancient ruins, which are seriously impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have any history buffs out there that are listening right now, you know what you need to look up is the ancient ruins of India. Oh my God, that I've never seen anything. The engineering, unstinking believable. And I'm not going to remember what it's called. It starts with the B, Bama Rama something ruins. It is truly unbelievable. And Sean, how do we get onto ancient ruins when this is a detailing channel? Like, oh, it's Bar. Okay, if any of you are interested in, okay, look up this, Sean. Look up Bara. B-A-R-A.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on.
Did you say hold on?
Yeah, because there's people writing in the comments.
Oh, largest pyramid in Mexico.
Well, let's go back to detailing because some audience members are running away. So
okay, we'll get back onto we'll get back onto detailing. I mean, it is a detailing channel.
Yeah.
Sorry, all you other people that were following my wavelength. So we were talking about acid-based wheel cleaners. We're talking about the pH scale, and now you pull up some brush sets. You know, it's interesting on Amazon. These brush sets, they just keep growing. Like, I remember, you know, like 5 years ago when you basically would itemize these out, and you get like the 3 brushes, like those toothbrush style brushes. Like look at this set here. You've got even like these bonnets. Like, what are those bonnets supposed to be for? Oh, those are probably dusting bonnets, I guess. Yeah, we got to detail a pyramid, man. Hell yeah. That'd be dope. And Mark Rizzo's back. Hey, gentlemen. Hey, gentle man, Mark Rizzo. How goes it? Welcome back. We got on some wild tangents while we were waiting for you to show up, Mark. Acids were used to paint clothes. Acids were used in a lot of ways. Acids, like I always say, nothing is created equal. Acids come in a plethora, a whole cornucopia of different varieties, all residing on that pH scale, somewhere on that spectrum. Once again, everything exists on a spectrum. Okay, so let's see. What's
this whole set? This whole set is $26.
Wow.
And what I was going to bring up was I was going to ask you, do you think this set is worth it, or do you think this set is bullshit?
Well, based on how many components are in the set at $26, the simple answer would be it's quite a deal. But honestly, because I'd say no. I mean,
Well,
I
yeah.
know you always want me to keep it black and white, so I would just say no, and I'll tell you why.
Well, I know why.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, I would say right now, I'll call this BS because
How so?
I bet you.
Tell us.
I bet you anything. Number one, the quality is probably garbage. So I bet you
agree.
anything. It seems tempting for someone who doesn't know about detailing.
Yes.
So you're like, oh my god, I'm getting a really good deal. But then the problem is the use. The whole purpose of tools for detailing is to last. And I know for a fact this stuff, I'll get a couple of uses and then it doesn't work anymore.
I agree, and I suspect we would both be right in agreeing to your point. What I was going to say is that, and this is one of my default answers, which is detailing is just hard work. So anytime you can make your life easier, you're going to want to do it. And that comes down to the tools. So not only do you want the perfect tool for the job, but you want a tool that will last.
Yeah.
So it's so frustrating when you get a cheap tool, because that thrill of getting a great bargain, that is fleeting. Okay, that will be very short-lived, because when you're using it and say, for example, the bristles start falling out on you and now it's making a mess, like even those dusting brushes, if those bristles, and that's kind of a problem with a lot of the natural synthetic, or I'm sorry, the natural fiber dusting brushes, that they often will shed. And it's very frustrating when you're detailing the interior of a car and these bristles start shedding on you, or you're working on the exterior of the car and now the bristles start breaking off, like when you're scrubbing the tire sidewall or you're cleaning the wheels. So it probably is cheap, because that's a lot of tools for $26. And also, I want very specialized tools that are made specifically for the job. And that doesn't mean the manufacturer has made them specifically for the job. It means I have sourced that tool to be the exact tool that is the best tool for the job. So I have very specific scrub brushes I use for tire sidewalls, which are, I bought them specifically to only clean the tire sidewalls, because I want a handle on it. I want it a certain size so that it is the right shape, because I know how aggressive you have to scrub tire sidewalls, which is going to be different than, for example, scrubbing a floor mat. Like when people, I'm reading your thing here, Umberto. Like when people use detailing products in wrong ways, some spray the contents instead of spraying on the brush. Yes, good point. They forget that spraying can get on surfaces that can get affected. Yeah, that's a good point. And often, and that's usually a beginner mistake, Umberto, where, like, for example, I've got a few videos on how to clean a steering wheel. So because guys can get so hyper focused on what they're cleaning, so you've got a steering wheel. Well, right behind the steering wheel is this dashboard of all kinds of intricate parts. At least they used to be. Now with modern day, like really, really modern day cars, you're getting like just screens, like a big flat panel. So they're less intricate, but mostly they're filled with all kinds of intricate knobs, levers, buttons, vents. And so when you spray, like you're going to clean a steering wheel and you're going to spray it with your cleaner, all that overspray is going to go onto that dash, and now you've just created a big fat mess for yourself to clean up. But because you're so hyper focused on cleaning the steering wheel, you may miss that point. So to speak to your point, Umberto, that's a total newbie mistake, and you're right on point when you say that. When they aren't for the surfaces, yeah, or the cleaner may not be for the surfaces that you're getting overspray on. So it could be a two-part problem. One, you're cleaning up a mess that you now just created for yourself, so that's being redundant. Secondly, the chemical you're using to clean something else that's you're intended to clean may not be safe for the other components or the other materials that you get the overspray on. So it's a two-part problem for yourself. So those look like those are natural bristles, I suspect. Yeah, boar's hair. So, and I hate the design of those. See, I'm a very aesthetic guy. To me, I'm big on presentation. For whatever reason, those brushes, I just don't like them. They just don't look, they're just not slender enough. They're just, anyhow, that's just a whole separate talk track, but those are okay. I suspect that those are going to break off. How much are those? Oh, there's that big discount that we talked about last week or the week before, Sean, where suddenly the world is on discount now because the economy seems to suck. Let's see. Good video for when you're using a brush to clean doors and all that amount of suds, but then you have to take out those suds from nooks and... Yeah. You know, those videos, I'm pretty sure I know what you're referring to, Umberto. I find it comical. So, Sean, keep that picture. Don't change that.
Okay.
Because you and I have commented on this before, where you've got some knucklehead on YouTube or Instagram, that makes a video where he's got a brush like that and he's attempting to clean this big, massive door panel with this brush that is, it's two problems. One, it's way too soft. It's not going to be an aggressive enough to clean a door panel that has actually got true dirt buildup on it. And secondly, it's so small. You're going to spend like 20 minutes sitting there agitating this entire door panel, and it's just so ineffective. Or I should say, well, it's both. It's ineffective because the bristles are too soft, and it's inefficient because that detailing brush is too small. When you got a big area like a door panel, and I realize that a lot of door panels can be very intricate with all the components like the armrest, the handle, the door release. Yeah, there's a lot of components on a door panel, but there's still plenty of wide open areas. So I would never clean a door panel like that. Yes, the makeup brushes. Yeah, it's just what I call detail theater. It's all about performance detailing.
It's not being used correctly. So like when I use brushes, I use it for the areas that are hard to get to.
The intricate areas.
Yeah, that's it. But the rest of the time, I use a microfiber towel for the big areas.
Yes. Makeup for the video. Yeah. You're a silly guy, Umberto. But yes, I agree. Keep the makeup brushes so you can apply makeup to your face for the video.
Well, actually, you do use bigger brushes for bigger areas, like the seats. But
that just speaks to my point, which is I want to find the perfect tool for the job. So, for example, if you were to walk into a service shop of a mechanic and you look at their toolbox, and most people would freak out as to how many tools they have. And in a lot of ways, it's just bragging rights. Like, this is how men overcompensate. It's like, ooh, look at all my tools. It's like, okay, cool. But the reality is any skilled mechanic knows that the right tool for the job is going to make their life so much easier. So it's one thing to be able to fix a part, fix a component, or clean something, but it's entirely different having a tool that's precisely made for that job, that it's uniquely made for that job, that's going to make your life simpler just in using it, or it's going to produce better results, or it's going to allow you to be more efficient. Because you could have, let's say, a scrub brush that's what's called very ergonomically friendly. Let's say it's like literally custom molded to your hand, but that doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily more efficient. It's just going to be more friendly to your hand, but it could still be too big or too small for the job. So there's actually much more to picking out the perfect tool for the job than I think most beginners would ever consider. Did that make sense, Sean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need the brush for a specific area, but waste time on the whole area, waste of time. Yeah, so like my bucket jockey, which I'm a big fan of, it's a type of a caddy system that organizes all my brushes. I was trying to think if I have a picture, because I have quite a few brushes, but once again, I want the perfect brush for the job, whether it's scrubbing a floor mat, which is a pretty wide open exposed flat surface, scrubbing upholstery, which is pretty wide open areas, to, let's say now you're detailing out a shifter. Let's say you're detailing a car, and say it's an actual, like, they don't even have manual transmissions, because what I was thinking of is the area that's got the boot, wherever the shifter is. Often they'll either have a faux looking leather type of boot, shifter boot, or it will be a leather shifting boot. And in that boot, you'll get all kinds of crumbs and dirt that will get down in there. And let's say the driver spills some liquid down there. So I'm going to want a smaller detailing brush to clean inside that, as opposed to a big upholstery brush that's going to have more surface area to it. Oh, you're pulling up the caddies.
Yeah.
Look up Bucket Jockey. That was my original go-to one. It's still the one I personally like, and I've seen this industry evolve. Yeah, there we go. So click on either one of those two, the ones that show all the tools in it. Look how many tools these things can hold. Now we have to remember we're not an auto mechanic. So auto mechanics are going to have, 1,000 tools. Us detailers, we're going to have like, I don't know, brushes in the 10s or 20s, but it's just super useful. And I'll carry, like, I set up my bucket or my bucket jockey so that everything I needed to clean, to fully detail an interior could be contained in this bucket jockey. So if you were to empty out the tools on the inside of that bucket, that's where my 2 sprayers would go. I would have a all-purpose cleaner, and I would have something more aggressive like a degreaser in there. And that would basically serve to clean all my surfaces, all the materials. And then I would have, all the different brushes in there. I would have a razor blade somewhere on the outside. I would have little screwdrivers, because often on the inside of cars, you might actually have different, fasteners that come loose. So I always carried screwdrivers, just a standard and a Phillips head. But they're just so useful. Us H put sheet metal duct tools in them. Oh yeah, like every blue collar, anyone that's working with tools, they've got some kind of caddy system. It could be just, a toolbox, a hand carried toolbox, but you're going to have some kind of organizational system so you can be more efficient in going about your job. And once again, any blue collar job is going to be, it's naturally going to be hard on the body. It's going to require energy. So anything you can do to make your life easier and simpler, and organization is about that. Makes your life simpler. You're not chasing your tools. They're not getting lost. It's right there for you. It's handy. So it serves a lot of purposes. In fact, I'm the one that introduced this into the detailing world. I did not see another detailer, and I suspect that they were out there, that they existed. It's just that if they weren't on YouTube talking about it. So to me, this is one of the biggest tools that I introduced to the industry to really help guys be truly efficient by being organized. So let's see, but there's other ones. Look up, like, go scroll down and see what Amazon also suggests. Now that you looked up this, if you scroll down the page, Sean, it usually has other suggestions or people also looked at. Yeah, see, you've got all kinds. You see that row there?
Yeah.
If you click on those arrows, yeah, it'll just show all kinds of versions up there. In fact, hold that right there. Oh, that's just a black one. Actually, what I thought it was a belt that you wear.
Yeah.
Kind of like Detailer's Helper. I wonder if that's still selling on Amazon. Look up Detailer's, type in Detailer's Helper. It's actually a belt, like a caddy system that you wear as a belt. I don't know what the official word, like if you're into construction, yeah, there it is. Like my first real blue collar job was construction, and I wore a construction belt, and it's basically that, except this one's made for detailers. So because I did a lot of RVs, I actually wore just a construction belt. But then when these guys came out with this, I transitioned to this because I'm up on an 8-foot ladder trying to get the tall areas of an RV, and you don't want to keep going up and down to get your supplies. And then if you try to balance them on the top of the ladder, guaranteed they're going to fall, despite how and they have little caddy systems that that fit on top of the very top of the ladder also. So you just learn how to be resourceful, really. If you stay in the business and you want to be profitable, you're always looking for ways to be resourceful and to be efficient and to be effective. Finishing, detailing, painting, etc. The right tool or brush is critical. Yeah, spot on. That is so true. And any guy that is a true craftsman knows that. Any guy that gives a darn about his performance and what he's delivering to the customer or to himself, they know that. And you know what else is probably right in line, it may be even more important, is patience. Any true craftsman knows that you have to have patience, because if you don't have patience, you're going to rush it. You could have the best tools, you could have the best right tools, but if you're impatient and you want to rush through everything, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. So patience. I know we say patience is a virtue, but patience, in fact, I had this one guy, he was a paintless dent guy, and I learned how to do that years ago. I didn't stick with it, by the way, but he taught me. He says, the slower you go, the faster you'll get done, which seems like a total paradox, but it's true, because when you rush things, what's that saying? Haste makes waste, and it really does. All right, let's see. There's a tried and true method in detailing. Can't reinvent the wheel in detailing like you can with HVAC, construction, electrical work. No, that's true. I agree. Yeah, detailing, it's different because with HVAC, and this is just me thinking on the fly in the moment, HVACs, because it's a lot more of a tangible world. So for example, let's say there was a niche, a specialized niche, which was detailing HVAC systems. I know as HVAC guys, you guys have to clean certain things. Like let's say on a condenser that sits outside, you got to clean all those aluminum, what do they call those grills, vents, aluminum something, really intricate. So you do a little bit of cleaning, but see, cleaning is this ambiguous area, this gray area where it's like, oh, you got to clean it. So it is very different. So I know what you mean. It is very different. So you can't just run a, now I'm trying to think of these HVAC terms because I know enough about HVAC. What do we call it? Not a line. Maybe it's called a line set. Is that what it's called? A line set that actually feeds the Freon, even though I know it's not Freon anymore, from the condenser up to maybe the coil?
Coils. He says coils.
Oh, coils. Okay. Yeah, so it is. I get what you're saying, kicking out the heat. Steady is faster. Patience is key.
Wait, you're skipping.
No, I'm just bouncing back.
Okay.
Because you probably put it up, but I didn't really address it specifically. So mine has rinseless, APC if needed, degreaser if needed, dentist pick or wooden pick, brushes, towels, Q-tips. Okay, do you really use Q-tips, Umberto? Because I remember when I first got into detailing 100,000 years ago, and when I would tell people I do detailing, they were really uncertain. I mean, they kind of knew, and so that was like their standard answer. They would say, "Oh, so does that mean like you go inside with a Q-tip and you clean everything out and you detail it?" And I would say yes, but I experimented with Q-tips. I actually found them pretty ineffective. For one, they've got a rounded head to it, and so when you're trying to get inside these crevices, these tight angles and crevices, I just found them not that user friendly. And granted, this is like 35 years ago, so, and using Q-tips for vents, I tried that also, but I found that I was much quicker if I just folded a microfiber cloth and slid it inside the vents and brushed it back and forth, and then I also fine-tuned it with a stiffer dusting brush. That's how I would clean the vents. Yep. Yeah. Kicking out the heat. Yep. Steady is faster. Patience is key. Oh, line sets. Oh, Mark, are you a are you an HVAC guy also? Which would be funny that we have two HVAC guys here. Also, compressed air bottle used for computers. Yes. If there's gum, just freeze it by turning bottle upside down and freeze them. Yes. Good point. What you'll find on YouTube is people tell you to freeze the gum with an ice cube, which makes a big puddle because the ice cube's going to melt while you're trying to simultaneously freeze the gum so you can rip off the main chunk of the gum. Like the guy from White Details, Toothpickery. Like the guy from White Details. I'm not sure how to interpret that. So Mark said HVAC guy and entrepreneur. Well, thumbs up to you, Mark. That's funny that we've got two HVAC guys here. I kind of was an HVAC guy to a degree. I took a hiatus from detailing for 6 months, and I was a sales person for what we called energy efficient components. So one of the main things that we sold were HVAC systems. So that's when I really took a deep dive into HVAC and learning what the like the coil, the compressor, the line set. I'm trying to think what other terminology I had to remember. I don't remember. Or the intake registers. Anyhow, that's a few years ago. I call Q-tips that are flat and made with this foam material or with microfiber. Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you mean, Umberto. It's not really an official Q-tip. See, Q-tip's an actual brand name of a cotton swab. Kind of like Kleenex. When we say Kleenex, can I have a Kleenex? Well, Kleenex is a name brand of a facial tissue. You can come sell for me, Darren. You'd be good. I'll teach you. Dude, I know how to close, Mark. By the way, what was unique to my job is there's a term for it. So we did not, what did we call it? Meaning the appointments were set for me. My goal was to go in, present what we had to offer, present our unique value proposition as a company, and close the deal in that moment. There was no comebacks. There was no go backs. So if I didn't close the deal in that moment, that was it for me. So I was a closer, and I had approximately an hour to 3 hours with customers to close that deal. And I was actually very good. I was one of the top closers. Coffee is for closers only. I could interpret that a few ways. Point is that was an interesting job. And what was so interesting that I could go into a home, meet with the decision makers, which was the husband and wife, and literally cinch the deal. And our deals would be anywhere from, because we sold replacement windows, HVAC, roofing, insulation. Those were the main products. And we also sold a coating for the exterior, which is basically paint. It was called, I'm going to forget what it was called, but it actually absorbed the heat. And so it was an energy efficient product. Tex Coat. I think it might have been called Tex Coat. But our bread and butter was HVAC systems and windows. And I sold a lot of HVAC systems, and man, those things can get pricey. Was that Nexstar Sales? No, it was actually it was such a predatory company, and they had 3 companies. And now I'm not going to remember any of them right now. Oh shoot. I sorry, I can't remember the name of the company. They were not on the up and up, and it took me about 5 months to figure out what they're really up to. And I was like GTFO out of there because I could not hang with their unscrupulous ways of dealing or operating business. The art of closing is a whole other rabbit hole. Yes, it is. I would say I've done a fair amount of studying on that also. You don't use air compressor for cleaning. Is this more efficient? Well,
This is, by the way, Darren, this is somebody new.
I know. I'm looking at his avatar, Birmingham Auto Pros. I'm curious, Birmingham. First off, Birmingham kind of suggests maybe you're from the UK, although there's plenty of Birminghams here in the US. Auto Pros. So is this detailing, or are you in the other parts of the auto world? So I did use an air compressor, and I love air compressors. So let me just start there. I love air compressors. Why? Because it's compressed air, and I can do a lot of damage. And by damage, I mean good damage, specifically when it comes to, well, interiors, because you can blow away and blow out a lot of debris and dirt prior to ever attempting to clean it with any liquid cleaner. So I have a video in one of my courses, and I think it's called Darren's 6 Methods of Cleaning. So there's essentially 6 ways to clean things. One of them, for example, I'll use the opposite. Ask anyone how to, you're going to clean something, and they'll say, oh, well, you got to vacuum it first. Okay, so vacuuming sucks debris into a machine. Well, blowing is very effective. The problem with blowing things away is that it's not containing the dirt. So that's the main drawback of blowing things away. But compressed air is so effective, especially when you start changing the tips on it. So you've got high volume tips, or you've got low volume but high velocity tips, and they're super effective because you can also simultaneously agitate things, use brushes on things, and with the compressor blow that dirt away. So that's, if I had a shop, I absolutely would use compressed air. In fact, we would use it all the time. I would use it to blow off the car after we got it wet or washed it. I would use it to blow off the wheels and tires when they're wet. I'd be using it all the time. So I'm a huge fan of compressed air. It's just that when you're mobile and now you've got to haul a big fat compressor, because when it comes to compressed air, you need a big tank because you go through a lot of volume of air. And what I got it specifically for was to operate the Tornador, or the Tornador. I don't even know the official way to say that tool. And that goes through a disturbing amount of air volume. And so I had a compressor. It was a DeWalt. It was a 13-gallon tank, I believe. And it did, that goes through so much air. So you need, I think, to operate that, you need about, I think minimum operating power is 90 psi, which is different than volume. See, what they never talk about in the videos is how much air you will need to operate one of those machines. So you need 2 things. You need a lot of air, and you need it compressed at a certain psi. I think the operating, if you look at the fine print, Sean, you might be able to read through it. I think operating requirement is 90 psi, and anywhere from 90 to like 120 psi, which is a fair amount of pressure, but it goes through so much air that my compressor was constantly cycling on and off. Like I could only use that for like a few minutes, and then I'd have to wait for the compressor to even catch up. So that's the problem with when you're mobile, is you're constrained by working spaces as far as where's this equipment gonna fit into your mobile unit. Yes, those companies have no soul. That is well put, by the way. They literally, man, that is a whole separate conversation. They truly, and what's funny is those companies, we would have weekly meetings. Was it? Oh no, once a month we would meet. We would meet for breakfast. They'd all pay for our breakfast, and we used to just all eat like a bunch of pigs. But the guys would brag about, and I suspect that the used car or the car industry itself, as far as car sales, is very much like this. They brag about, bending customers over as to how much they raped them on their price. And I just wasn't down for that. Like I don't know, just rubbed me the wrong way. Let's see, Umberto. Also by blowing up things, you got to watch for your eyes and face. Yeah, that is true. But who wants to put on a pair of safety glasses, right, Umberto? I actually, the older I get, the more often I find myself wearing safety glasses, because really, you take some shrapnel in the eye when you're blowing stuff around. It's like, yeah, you're kind of screwed. Now you can't get it out of your eye. So yeah, I hear you.
No, not just safety glasses, Darren. You also wear ear protection.
Yeah, because they're loud AF.
The blower too. When you use the blower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so loud. I know. And that took me years before I finally conceded and thought, you know what, I got to protect my hearing. Like literally now I wear ear muffs when I use my blender to blend my coffee. Air compressor is a staple in my garage. Yes, absolutely, Mark. And good thing you've got a garage big enough that can accommodate it. So thumbs up for that. Alex is new, so welcome, Alex. I don't know that we've seen you here before. You've got a cool looking wheel as your avatar. I learned a ton from you when I was running my detailing business up through 2016. Are you still detailing professionally? Well, the simple answer, Alex, is no, I'm not. But unofficially, yes, to some degree. Like really most of the hands-on stuff that I do now, like for example, I actually did an interior detail only on a top of the line Mercedes S-Class. Took me 3 hours to do the interior only. And most of you, if you saw this interior before I started, would be like, wow, this is my dream come true. Like the thing's so clean. Well, the problem with modern day cars is they're so intricate, especially on high end luxury sedans. They've got every type of feature engineered and built in those cars, from vanity mirrors to rear seats that have literally three-way adjustments on the rear seats. They'll recline, they'll go forward, they'll raise up, the headrests raise up and down. I mean, it's just insane how much stuff is engineered into these high-end luxury sedans. So it still took me 3 hours to literally just do the interior. I didn't wash the car. I didn't touch anything else on the outside. But that was a rare moment. So in most ways, I'm hands off with detailing, but I still do the hands on when it comes to the badge removals, badge emblem replacements, because it's just really good money. Shorter periods of time as far as working time. Yes, it's incredibly stressful, but so far the money, it's just too good. So lots of air, minimum 90 PSI. Okay, cool. So yes, 90 PSI. Yeah, Birmingham Auto Pros. Sorry, Sean, I went up there. Oh, that's good for you, Umberto. Always wear your headphones. So yes, and protection. Yes, we want protection in all things that we're doing, right? Absolutely cash only, Mark. That's how Darren rolls. I've been promoting cash only. And just to clarify, because I've got a couple guys that I mentor, and they'll give me pushback on the cash only, and they'll say, oh, why I do cash only, Darren? They just write a check out to my name. It's like, okay, dude, that's good, but it's not as good as cash. Cash is king. And when I say cash, I mean the paper green stuff, because there's literally no recourse on the paper green stuff. So for example, if a customer writes you a check, and even if they write it to cash or they write your name on cash, yes, that kind of cash. Even if they write your name on it or they make it out to cash, you still have to go deposit that check in some bank. That's one more step that you have to take. And by the way, between the time that you leave their house and the time that you get to their bank, or even your bank, which by the way, if your bank's like my bank, they're going to call that person on the phone and verify that you, in fact, it's a legit check, which is crazy, right? They can put a stop payment on that check. Let's say that you drive away and suddenly they have this thing called buyer's remorse. And for whatever reason, they think like, oh my gosh, like I just spent $300 on this detail. I'm not sure I got my money's worth. They can put a stop payment on that check. So in my world, cash is king. And yes, you can do it. I got away with getting cash from all my customers up until the very end, which a lot of guys think is crazy because nowadays everything's handled with electronic payments, but not me, man. It's like, you know what? Johnny customer, you're safe because you're going to inspect my work before you hand over your hard-earned cash to me. But when I drive away from here, I want to make sure that I am 100% paid. I don't want this recourse crap, because if there's a problem, you better tell me that right now before I leave or before you pay me, and we will deal with it right then and there. Because I want to know when I leave that is a sure thing. So cash is king for many reasons. Also a dust mask, yes, which are very annoying, but not as annoying as sucking in a bunch of dust or fumes. I don't know how you call them. I think that works, dust mask. Glad to see you're doing well. I'm back on YouTube. I'm grateful for all the tips and tricks you share with us. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you found value, Alex. So thank you for acknowledging that. Yes, OMG, that Tornador does pull so much. I end up using standard blowgun. Yeah. Yes, trust me, I learned the hard way also. It's one of those pieces of equipment, and I've got this video, and I would love to know if the guys from Tornador were to tell me. I bet I've sold so many guns just from that video where I'm showing it on a floor mat, but because I edited it and I did a fast frame motion. What do they call that, Sean? Stop frame motion? No, fast frame. I sped it up.
Yeah.
And I just had music playing, but the results, like you can see me in action and the results are just so compelling. But what I'm not able to do is to tell you all the dirt and the liquid that's getting spewed out all over the place. So because it's a floor mat, I was doing it outside of the car. I'd put a mat on the ground to protect it from the ground. And so I'm totally exposed to the environment, which means that I'm not in a contained area. So when you take that Tornador inside of a car, now you're blowing some type of liquid, even if it's water, but typically it's going to be water that's mixed with a chemical. And now you're blowing it with compressed air. It's like, where's all that dirt going? Oh, I know where it's going. It's going on the inside of that car that you're trying to detail. You're like, oh my gosh. They never talk about that in the videos that I watch. That makes me want to buy this next cool tool of the industry. So that's something they never tell you about. Oh, can you elaborate on what you're doing? In simple terms, Mark, I'm trying to keep my sanity. Let's just say I'm only laughing because I've got so much drama going on in my life right now that if I wasn't able to laugh about it, I'd be crying about it. And I won't elaborate on that. And I know that's not what you meant. You meant professionally. So for the past 3 years, I've been developing my courses. So if you go to detailvault.com, you can see them firsthand, Mark. There's 2 officially for sale there, and they're courses designed for the starter guy, the guy that wants to start his own business. And it seems insane to think that I worked for 3 years on this. And by the way, when that comes out of my own mouth, I want to say, like, what the hell? So 6 months of that was kind of wasted because I picked a platform to host them that I ended up changing after the fact, after 6 months. So I had to learn a whole new thing. Point is there's so many moving parts to that. So that's what I've been doing for 3 years. Simultaneously, I also did the emblem badge replacement removal jobs. And then I continue to work on my other 2 websites, the Best Auto Detailing Tips and the Auto Fetish Detail sites. And what I mean by that, how about that, Mark? I'll just do that, like I'm zipping my lips on that one. So, whatever. Once again, I'm laughing for a reason, because otherwise I'd be crying. So like pretty much all my life, I've always had so many irons in the fire, and I don't recommend that. It's so much better if you can just focus. I mean, because honestly, life it's so difficult under the best of circumstances. Being married, raising kids, managing a household, managing finances, managing your health, managing like fill in the blank. It's a lot to juggle. Now, when you go into the professional world, you're trying to build a business, do marketing, handle your customers, maybe if you have employees, insurance. I mean, your tools, your product. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. Anyhow, there's the yeah, I suspect you're also speaking from experience, Mark. Sorry, Sean. I bounced up over to the right.
No.
So
It's okay.
Birmingham Auto Pros, primary living of maintenance details about 12,000 a month, which right on. That's a healthy amount. So that's cool. Looking to get out of industry, but having such a hard time finding this type of money. Dude, I'm right there with you. Like, I was making good money, but man, it kicks your ass. It is hard work, which is part of why I'm such a proponent of finding the right tools, figuring out ways to be efficient. And if you're making that kind of money, I guarantee you have figured out all kinds of ways to be efficient while being effective. But 12K a month, most guys in the business would aspire to making that kind of money each month, because that's a solid month, especially with detailing. And I'm wondering if you're mobile, Birmingham, if you've got a shop. I think he says he has maybe he didn't clarify. I wonder if he's mobile, if he has a shop, and if he has worker bees. Because for me to produce 12K a month, I'm pretty much going to have to, I mean, if I had the right jobs consistently. So for example, in my world here in Southern California, I could make more money working on RVs than I could cars. And RVs are beasts. And I did tons of them by myself, but generally I had a helper. And when I have a helper that's trained pretty well to do a lot of just the busy work or the grunt work, that's when I could pull in that kind of money. But by myself, it would be hard to pull in 12,000 a month just by myself, doing the normal type of details, especially maintenance. Because maintenance details, it's cool because the cars don't ever get filthy, but it's still a lot of all this. You still got to go through all those steps. And so it still kicks your ass, especially if you're racing the clock, which I always was. So yeah. Oh, did you pull it? You must have pulled that up, Sean, right?
Yes.
Experience the professional touch. You know what I got to say, Birmingham, is I really like your logo. It would be with, let's see. I'm trying to see what that. Okay, where's he located, Sean? Look on the about. Maybe it's got a contact page, although the contact will probably be limited to just the website. I think there's a Birmingham in Alabama.
Yep.
Is that where this is at?
I'm assuming.
But I guarantee there's more Birminghams. You can't find it. You can't see where it says, because usually it'll say.
What was the number?
What is that? Is that 205?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, 1 second. I'm looking.
Yeah, but I want to just look on the thing. I was going to look it up. Is that 205 though, Sean? The prefix?
It is Alabama.
Yeah, it says Central Alabama here is, yeah, in fact, it lists Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Hoover. So Alabama, you know what? I think you are the first detailer I've ever heard of being in Alabama. Literally, I think you are the first. And I know a lot of detailers in a lot of states, but it's interesting. There's just some states that like detailing is just not a thing. Alabama, in my opinion, was kind of one of those places. So it's not surprising that you're the first. But there's certain states that I just have never heard of detailing taking place. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just not a huge thing. So more power to you. And I wonder how much competition, local competition you have. You may not have much at all. I don't know. What are you pulling up for me, Sean? Whoa. Dude. How did we get to 725? No wonder I'm like ready to pass out from hunger.
I was getting ready to tell you that we got a couple more comments and we should end it.
Okay, so guys, if you got any last things you want to say, better bust them out here really quickly because I'm going to blaze through these last comments. So, Mr. HVAC, I'm in Huntsville. What's Baham? Is that Alabama?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I'm in Huntsville. I know I've heard of Huntsville, but I'm not sure. Kicking out the heat guy. But thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the back and forth and exchanging notes on the HVAC stuff. Mark, I never did detailing for a living, but many times in the back of my mind, I was screaming how to do these guys do this day in, day out. Feel for you guys. Dude, it is hard. I'm telling you, you've got to be a special kind of crazy to endure detailing. But I'm telling you, I've done a lot of stuff in my life. I mean, a lot of stuff. Something you guys don't know is I'm actually a licensed hairdresser. How about that? Is that crazy or what? So I've done a lot of stuff, but I'm telling you, nothing is harder than detailing. Well, that's debatable, but what I really meant to say is nothing works for me like detailing does. I absolutely love it for a lot of ways, mostly because I was mobile. Every day was different. Every car was different. Customers were different, and I'm by myself. Yes, I might have a helper bee sometimes, but I like the autonomy of it, and I could just listen to my music and do what I do best, and that's detailing. And I like the ability to roll up on something that looks like garbage and know that it's going to look so much better when I'm done. Only mobile, got rid of 2 shops to free up cash flow. Well, thumbs up. Sounds like you're doing really good. Mobile detailers in North Alabama, specifically Huntsville. Okay, cool. That's good that the popularity is really kicking on. Well, thank you, Birmingham Auto Pros guy. All suggestions, all indicators suggest that you're killing it. So more power to you. I use SEM trim paint for very dry faded trim and solutions finish. I don't know what SEM is, but definitely solution finish. I'm a huge fan, Umberto. And thanks for being here again, Umberto. We like having you here. You had some good variety to our sessions. We closing down Birmingham, Alabama. That's cool. Alabama. I wonder how much of an accent you have. I wonder how much of an accent I have compared to you, Mr. Alabama.
Darren, maybe next Saturday they can call us
on the phone. One of those moments. Yeah, that'd be cool. How are we going to? We're gonna have to do a little. Okay, guys. Sean and I are throwing this idea back and forth because I thought about this. Like, if one of you guys, while we're doing this live, were to call me on the phone. Like, I'll just hypothetically say you, Birmingham, because you're in the business. And let's say you got a question that you want to do a deep dive on, or you want to be able to ask me very specifically, because I get it. It's hard to type these questions out. And I've always say that the better your question is, the better I can deliver an answer for you. But what I thought is, what if one of you guys called me and you and I talked on the phone while the rest of the audience is watching us, and I could tell them what you're saying, and it might be useful information for everyone, but it would give that more personal touch. So you guys can tell us what you think. I can't see the Puerto Rico guy. I'm not sure what that means though. Where is he? Are you guys multi-streaming?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's right. So we're on 2 different channels right now. So I've got Sean, but are they viewing this image, Sean? We're
Yes.
Okay, so Sean and I are in different states. I'm in California. Sean is in Arizona, hence the Shine Like a Pro AZ. I always give Sean a hard time for that. That stands for Arizona. Sean used to live here in California. I trained him for detailing. I gave him some of my accounts to start his own business, but he's in Arizona now. So he and I do these live streamings together. He has his station on YouTube, which is Shine Like a Pro AZ, and of course mine, Auto Fetish Detail. So yes, I'm staring at my computer. I can see probably very much what you guys are seeing. So we're actually in different states. So yeah, we're all connected here digitally. So yeah, I forget about that part, the logistics of this moment. So I hope that cleared up maybe any confusion that's going on. Where is he? Are you guys multi-streaming? Yes, he's Arizona. I'm Southern California. We are multi-streaming. I guess that's how you can call it. Oh, look at Detail. It just popped back in. Dude, we're just closing. We're closing shop down, man. We've been on here for an hour and 31 minutes now. What's that? First, almost first.
Yeah.
But there's next week. Detail it. Try being first next week.
We can be on tomorrow if you want. Sunday at 6.
We have daylight savings that changes, and Sunday. Let's not do tomorrow.
Okay, we'll skip next Saturday.
For reasons I won't go into detail.
That's okay. You don't have to share. Like last Sunday, I said no. So
yeah. So we will meet you guys back up here next Saturday for sure at 6 o'clock. And thank you for coming along. And by the way, while you're still here, just give us a thumbs up. I know I hate pandering to the stupid algorithms, but it's the nature of the beast. So give it a thumbs up. And you two can converse. Maybe you and Doug and Umberto can converse online. Hello didn't come through. Hello first. All right, party people. We will see you guys next Saturday. Same bat channel, same bat time, 6 p.m. Standard Pacific time.
Pacific time.
Yeah.
6
o'clock. All right, party people.
All right.
Peace out.